the updates. So folks, hey, get this, man. Vaxxers are going to be celebrating freedom. I don't know why they didn't do it on July 4th. It would have been more fun. But anyway, the governor of Hawaii, Governor Ige, just announced yesterday, in fact, that Hawaii will lift quarantine and pre-existing travel testing requirements for domestic travelers from the mainland who can show proof of receiving a COVID-19 vaccination early next month. So, somewhat needless to say, that's big news. So from what it's saying, if here's yet another motivation to be vaccinated, if you can show proof of vaccination, you get to skip quarantine and testing, which is great. They've also done a couple of other things. They're lifting restrictions. We're going to go, social gatherings from outdoors can go to 75 people without having to have restrictions. Restaurants will be able to operate at 75% capacity, but we still have to wear masks. We still have to wear masks for indoor gatherings. So I will take it. It is great news. It's a big deal. There's also more stuff that's going on about dropping COVID restrictions. So there's also a lot of talk. Nothing's been put in stone, but there is some sort of signaling that if the case counts keep dropping. Previously, that the governor had a thing where he said, "Hey, if we get to 70% vaccination, we're going to drop all restrictions." It seems like those last few percentages. I think we're at like 56% right now, something like that, with people who have got both vaccinations, and they're finding it's just kind of falling off the cliff. No one's, people aren't going for the. 80% have been vaccinated with the first vaccination, but out of those 80%, not a small percentage, not small, but a lot of those people aren't going for the second one. Anyway, looks like we're not going to hit that 70% vaccination rate anytime soon. But if the case counts keep dropping, there is some signaling that we're going to be dropping some restrictions. Looks like the travel industry is coming back to normal. Some things I'm hitting is the stakes from earlier this week. There was a story. The stake 2-week average. Wait, let me see here. What am I saying here? Okay. In the last week, an average of 36,000 people traveled into and throughout the islands per day. That's compared to an average of 34,000 for the month of June in 2019. So it looks like, at least for that period that they tested, we've surpassed pre-COVID levels, which to me is a little bit surprising. I didn't think it was going to bounce back that quickly. But my wife gave me some good reasons why. For example, it's kind of hard to travel to foreign countries right now. Hawaii's still the best place on earth. Why not Hawaii? And then finally, we had a Russian thing. Yeah, we had Russians. So apparently, which is, part of it's a little bit scary. There was a Russian Navy operation that came. There were some Russian ships that came within 20 to 30 nautical miles off Hawaii, and they scrambled F-22s loaded with weapons and bombs to kind of check out the situation. We've also brought a U.S. carrier strike group move closer to Hawaii. So we've got real. We had a Russian incident. How do you like that? Anyway, that's the news. Any news? Anything that interesting, newsworthy? We got a special segment coming up about real estate. Anything newsworthy you want to share, Dylan? And then Scott.
Yeah, I can just confirm that the visitor numbers are definitely back up, because everywhere you go, you can't get into a restaurant. It's totally packed. The traffic is totally back. It's definitely feels exactly like it did 18 months ago. So people are back, no doubt. And we still don't have any rent-a-cars. My third car has been booked solid for like a month and a half now by my friends.
You're doing the Turo thing, right?
Yeah, not on Turo, just my friends. I haven't gotten on Turo yet. Yeah, just because friends and clients who coming in and need a car. I had one friend really cool from Iraq that I hadn't seen in 20 years that was doing a vacation here. And so I got to let him use the car, and then a couple of others. So.
Man, Dylan, you got Zig Zane shirts worth the thousands. You've got you got beater cars that are worth thousands. I mean, it's kind of like money's coming out of your ears, just like holding on to the assets that you got.
The only reason we kept it is because the dealership told me they wouldn't give me any money for it if I traded it in. So it's much more valuable to the friends than to the dealership.
That's hilarious. I mean, yeah, man, that is hilarious. That's
another interesting thing is, if you're coming here, bring a car, because there are no cars. I mean, even in the dealerships, you can't even buy them. Like the Toyota dealership, empty. The Honda dealership is empty. It's kind of eerie when you drive past and you see the parking lot just totally empty. And there's some resales, some used cars that they're selling, but new inventory of those brands you can still get a Kia, I think, or maybe a Hyundai, but the popular brands, the Dodge dealership, probably half empty. So very few cars, even just to purchase here on the island.
Yeah,
And
that's
that
a real
and that what I'm told is from there's a chip that you need for the fob to open.
shortage.
So it's like really that's what's holding up shipment of these cars. Is the cars are manufactured sitting in the mainland somewhere, but they won't ship them because that there's a chip shortage.
The key fob chip
for the key fobs.
I didn't know it was a key fob chip. I knew there was a chip shortage. I just kept seeing chip shortage.
Yep.
You know, that's a really good angle. Like, you know, normally we kind of tell people, hey, you know, you have to kind of think about if it's worth it to bring your car here and now. But now it's like, yeah, bring it.
Yeah.
Bring
it.
You ship it for vacation and then ship it back when you're done. It's still cheaper.
It'll be cheaper, yes.
I mean, it's insane.
That's so crazy.
Fact, I got a call from someone on the Big Island saying they were coming over here for a doctor's appointment and they couldn't schedule an Uber. They weren't going to be able to get a rental car or anything. So I picked them up from the airport, dropped them off at the hospital for the appointment, then picked them back up, took them back to the airport when they were done because they can't get around. Even the Ubers are all booked up and things.
Yeah, we're in this really weird place right now, right? Where everyone's here, but the businesses, because they weren't able to plan effectively, can't kind of bring back their inventory. The cars, you know, all the rental cars were sold and they can't be bought back because the chip shortage this and chip shortage that. People aren't going back to work because they're still collecting checks and they have, you know, they're kind of rethinking their lives. They're like, you know what? Now that I think I'm going to be a real estate agent and not a restaurant server, right?
Well, what happens when we open the state up mostly without having to do the pre-test? Are we going to get busier? More people here? Is there more demand out there than what we're even seeing now?
You know, good question. Good question. We're gonna find out, but it's definitely crazy. So yeah, I never thought about that. Bring the car over. And Scott
a good illustration is I got a friend that told me that I think he's got 3 or 4 Jeeps he's bought that he's on Turo, and he's like, I'm 1 Jeep away from retirement, is what he told me. That was a great line.
I mean, you know, when you can rent a car for $300 to $500 a day, you know, I saw that. So I say, you know, God bless them. That's what I got to say. God bless. I wish I wouldn't have sold my car that I sold but that was 5 years ago. So that, who knows about that? All right. So Scott, anything news wise on Oahu that you want to kind of share or report on?
No, I mean, the big news is what we were just talking about. In fact, I was going to try to go over to the Four Seasons on the Big Island just for like a quick weekend, and there's no rental car. And the other thing I was concerned about is like, well, Hualalai and Four Seasons is very, there's no other restaurants other than what's right there within the Four Seasons. So if I go over there and the place is packed, can I even get food? Can I get into a restaurant while I'm staying there? You know, I scrapped that idea. That just didn't, but that's the big news. My parents are coming in August. We've already kind of got everything laid out. So I'm happy to see the vaccination components so they can come over with these. I haven't seen them for a while because they're in North Carolina. So
yeah, and if they're vaccinated, they're going to be in good shape. So that's really fantastic. Yeah, for Father's Day, we were going to go out to a restaurant. That, you know what, forget it. We just did the Costco run, and you know, I'm into cooking now. So I for Father's Day, I cooked. So that was great. That's what we do as Father's Day. All right. We have a few comments.